Okay. Recognizing Owen, the chair opened the September 9th, 2024 meeting of the Community Housing Committee. This meeting is being held in a hybrid model, both in person, hearing of Yarmouth Town Hall, 1146 Route 28, and remotely via the virtual computer platform Zoom. Committee members may participate in person and through remote participation pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency signed into law on June 16, 2021, and extended through March 31, 2025. The information to access this meeting via Zoom was published on the agenda with the town clerk and on the town's website with a minimum 48-hour notice to the public. The public is welcome to attend in person or remotely. This meeting is being recorded. So, to open the meeting, a second.
We'll just call, you just open it up. I'll go and you'll call everybody.
Okay. V? Here. Tom?
Here.
Great. Here.
Yeah.
Here. So the first order of business is a request for rent increases for 63 Wilton South Yarmouth and 5 Applet Road, of the 539 and 28 West Dennis.
You can recognize the project component. And you just recognize the project component.
Project component is here, Karen Keeley.
Is this Chennai? Michael Kieran Ely. I am the owner of the property on Reupload, and my brother owns the property on Appleby. Well, I be representing both properties. As is customary, after a few years, when the rents change, we come back to this board to look for some rent increases in high properties. And eventually it goes on to the state and to the selectmen to get approval. But first of all, we have to to this board. The number one criteria is that they need the allowances that are for this particular type of project. So I come in and I meet with Mary and we go through the numbers to be sure that the amounts that I'm looking for each the criteria set by the regulatory agreements on both of these properties. One of the properties includes utilities and one of the properties does not include utilities. As a result, the rent amounts that can be requested are different, obviously, than with the but if these are not included, those rents are lower than the ones that are the utilities having. So we've, I believe it's complied with the regulations and that answering questions, you know.
Okay. Mary, did you produce the backup document?
So in your packet, we'll start with Wilton. Wilton has 3 units, A, B, and C. And you have a cover letter from Kieran opposing it. So I took those, he works out those rents. They're on this chart. Run this chart, right? So the first row are all about are they in compliance with the regulatory agreement, with the standards, with the federal fair market rate rents, with the home rents, including all utility, right? They are. Then you come to the second step, and it talks about the utility allowance and subtracting out a utility. And we use the current Yarmouth Housing Authority numbers. And that's where we finally calculated that for unit A and B, the proposed rent, not including any utilities, could be no more than $1,275. And for C, the proposed rent could be, not including any utilities, the proposed rent could be no more than $1,479. So that's their cap. They can change their lease to that. But because we don't have any contact with the tenants, typically the board conditions that this rent increase, no current tenant will pay more than 40% of their actual income on housing. that just protects them. It doesn't, if you don't lower the rent, that condition would protect them from somebody being priced out of an apartment. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about who's in these units now. Are there any Section 8 voucher inhibitors? Is there one that's vacant?
There are LED roofing units, all three are occupied. One is a Section 8 to meet. One is mother and son. They both work. The son is 25 or something. And one is a single woman who lives in the unit. She has been with me for 10 years at this occasion. And, when you say utilities, not included, I do pay for the septic system, I do pay for the water, I do pay for the groundskeeping and the snow removal and the trash. So it's the primary ones are heat and electricity that I can get. We also had these units monitored by Barnstable Housing to see that these tenants comply with the uniform big families. I have requested that. Typically, it takes about 3 months to come back and measure that right now. I don't expect any issues because one of the tenants, the latest tenant, just moved in a year ago, and the situation hasn't changed substantially, so I cannot expect any issues with these 3 tenants applying the regulations. And the rent income not exceeding 40%.
I know for sure that 2 out of the 3 will be able to afford the rent increase. And then if we have a question about the third one, we call in Barnstable Housing Authority to help us out to determine whether they can afford it. And
am I not seeing the current rent on this?
You're correct. Do you have off the top of your head the current rents?
The current rent is approximately $190 less than both. It's on all of them. Me, I don't. I know everything. I just went to the grocery store. We know everything. It's still going. That's then all. Even though Barnstable County modifies the home rent every year, I don't come back to this board every year. I come back every couple of years. So maybe.
When was the last time you were here?
It was in 2022.
2023. Then because you initiated it in 2022. So their approved rent from 2023. It took us a while. And we had to go to the Board of Selectmen twice. It took us a while to get it passed. But right now, the maximum rent for Unit A and B is $1,081. And C is $1,256.
And I gave my tenants notice that the rents were going up in December, with the understanding normally takes 3 to 5 months to get through all the different people who have to sign off on this.
So the Section 8 voucher holder will have no problem. So the household that just got placed, he just did it. They're in the higher end of a low moderate income scale. So there'll be no problem. And then the third one, just have Barnstable Housing Authority look at it and make sure they're not paying so much that they become was because of the rent increase. So that's why it's important for you to put that condition of no more than 40% of their actual.
So how does that get initiated with Barnstable?
I've already reached out to Barnstable to do rest of the yearly monitoring. I paid them every year to monitor the situation so that they confirm the tenants haven't added 3 more jobs or added 3 more people to the house. They say I know that, but they send out a form to those tenants, and the tenant fills out what their income is and they're just living in the house. Be sure that they have not had any.
Their new leases are supposed to come my way. And Kieran does a good job managing this property. The Barnstable Housing Authority looking at it, with me looking at it, he knows that we'll catch it. If we'll catch it.
It was both Israel and Yarmouth. Why was Barnstable the Ireland Authority that?
Because Yarmouth Housing Authority does not do that type of monitoring. And I have to say, Barnstable Housing Authority is lucky. Without
They go live with something big.
they are the largest on the Cape, and they do these marketing lickety split. I find. The only reason why I just wanted it done is because some of the paperwork that I gave them actually had a typo, had another household name on it. It was a carryover from the last. So now she has to, because of that, she has to start from scratch and audit the whole file.
But responsible on this whole pay rents, rent increases. You don't accrue the rent as such, but they're a monitoring agent checking to be sure that everything I do and everything that Town Yana allows me to do meets the state regulations. So they're kind of a watchdog, basically.
So once the rent is approved, it goes from here. You'd have to take a vote whether you approve this, and it also has to be approved by the select board and the state. And so then what I can do is I can let Barnstable know, the monitoring agent know what the final decision is.
He approved it, then but someone else doesn't, and what happens?
It comes back here.
So then you end up with that lesser amount back up him.
Do you want the units in this complex or just stay straight?
This Wayford only has 3 units and all 3 are affordable. Appleby has 8 units and 2 of each.
Well, I'd like to make the recommendation that we vote to approve this.
Exactly.
But we want to add the caveat that no existing tenant is paying more than 40%, right, Miriam?
Yes, so you want to say that you approve the proposed rent as listed here, which is $1,275 a month, without any utilities for units A and B, and then $1,479 a month for unit C, not including any utilities, provided that the rent increase will cause no existing tenant to pay more than 40% of their actual income on housing costs.
Roll call vote.
And you seconded it.
I studied it.
Just ask anybody online if they have a question.
I don't have a question. Previous not have a question. Go get.
On agrees.
So roll call vote. Connie?
Aye.
Lou?
Aye.
Blue?
Aye.
John?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members. And we keep, we need to be the same for the second one because that was just for Wilfred. The second, Appleby is a little bit different because the utilities are included. And the rent amount is set at a different rate. I believe it's 80%. So these numbers are a little bit higher than the previous numbers. Unit 6, it's a 1-bedroom unit that includes all the utilities. That is $1,524. Unit 4, which is a 2-bedroom unit, that's $1,831, and that is a 2-bedroom unit with mentioned including all the utilities. But unit 4 is occupied at the moment by Section 18, and unit 6 is empty at the moment, and a new tenant will be processed for that. And from the tenants to be fine, he has to go through the ready rent. This we need to select tenant from them. So the process.
Yeah, and those B tenants are not allowed to pay more than 40%. We typically try to target somewhere in the range of 30 to 35% of their actual income on the housing costs. So, again, I'm pretty confident that these 2 units will have tenants that have no housing. Except for one, housing cost burden. Sorry.
Okay, did we want to make a motion on?
I make a motion that we allow the rent increase, so long as it is not over 40% of the current tenant or a new tenant's income.
Second?
Aye.
And Drew?
Yes.
Yeah.
Greg?
Yes.
Lee?
Great.
John? Aye.
Again, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members.
Thank you for coming in.
About sure.
He finally have this down pat, Aaron.
Oh, good.
So when we do our regulatory agreements, right? We list the initial lease up rent, and there's no language in there for how they go about raising them every year. And I'd encourage these partner opponents to change that, but from now on, we're going to have a schedule of how they go up. That we'd save them figures, but
We move on. Just like I just want to make you clear. So, the housing authority does not have the staff to do this stuff in Barnstable. Barnstable be this project challenge as well.
yeah, they take a little bit of money. In Southeast,
I would say something to you that
for the project, the property owner does. Oh yeah, the property owner does. Some people use Falmouth Housing Authority, and so Barnstable does it. Falmouth Housing Authority. I don't know what other housing authority does.
because all that born, this was not
Right.
be good out.
Yeah. The state has encouraged the town in Yarmouth to use an outside party. So we don't. I mean, I'll just say it out loud. I don't receive as much training as housing authority staff do from the state. And also, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the housing authority staff has more access to state records, income records of their residents. Everything I do is third-party verification, whereas housing authorities can actually see,
Yeah, they do it very thorough,
and they can see more.
like this rec.
My question would be, we have a Yarmouth Housing Authority. They're too small, and they're too small. They're too small. But just at that point where if they get any bigger, it triggers a lot more reporting and a lot more work. So
They're considered small housing or
Yeah.
even large.
But you read the two largest stuff, Barnstable and Falmouth. Yeah, Falmouth is big. It's big.
Okay, next, this minute. And everybody got a copy of the minutes or draft minutes from the August 12th meeting. Do you have any comment?
I have no comment.
The only comment I had was members absent. I didn't think Josh was here last time, right?
Oh, yeah.
That was the only comment that I had.
Actually, get it out very good.
Good.
Well, sure. That comment, I just say, there is someone who has put together minutes in the past, or you do a very
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so we need a motion to accept the draft minutes as amended by adding Josh to the members absent.
Correct.
I'll look that. I will accept those minutes. As amended. A second.
Okay, roll call vote. Drew,
Aye.
Hi.
Greg, Lee,
Aye.
aye. Okay, the next is representative to Community Preservation Committee.
Okay, so it's that time of year. Slowly, all the other committees are going through their list and looking at their records about appointments and representatives from other committees. So we have a memo from John Marie Flett, who is the program coordinator for the Community Preservation Program, dated August 29th, 2024, and asking the Community Housing Committee to confirm their representative to the community preservation committee.
And currently, Lee, you're the representative, correct? Is that something that you want to continue to do?
And I would stay on for 3 more years, but one after that, because I'm a year old. Fucking pretty old. It doesn't have this. I'd say old. Yeah, you can say, you can say whatever you want. You're so old, but you're so old, you can say whatever you want.
When you get to be a certain age, you can say what you want. Okay, but
We don't know, but
Like, with you on, I had no idea what I was in for. And I was in the middle of a big consulting project. And then when the RFPs came in every week for ages. So now I kind of understand the process a little bit better. So I'm planning to stay on it for the things. But if they think somebody else may be better for this, I can visit that.
but we'll say, listen, apparently I've not reached that age, so I can say whatever I want because I still get in trouble. Wait, the thing, but
Anybody who wants to be like Lee's assistant, Marlo, who's the hotel.
what does it entail? I mean,
So it's a wonderful committee because you have money. Okay. I don't know, they program out 1 million or more a year. Well, I don't know how much is available now because the bonded are a large amount for the new project. So you have RFPs that come forward. We're talking about community preservation and here's Don Reed. Because you get the other, yeah, because I've been in this meeting. Okay.
yeah.
Can you take a seat, quick? This is Donna Reflect. She's the program coordinator for community preservation. Can we just ask, what is it entail? Like, what does the community preservation committee member have to do? Oh, well, we have meetings usually from the fall through the winter through annual town meeting and kind of light meeting schedule from, say, May to September. In October, November, it can be almost every Wednesday for those 2 months. When the committee receives the new applications, our deadline this year is September 20th, the week from Friday. And then I'll spend a week going through the applications that come in and distribute them to the committee the following week. We review the applications. We invite the applicants to come in for interviews and then evaluate over the course of, depends on how many applications we get, but evaluate the applications over the course of a couple of months and then make recommendations, present it to the Board of Selectmen and the FinCom, and then prepare for town meeting, which the new administration has taken over a lot of the talking parts at town meeting. Then, yeah. So usually everybody takes a turn presenting a little piece of the warrant articles at town meeting. Lee's done it, right? Yep, he's done it. It's a script. You don't have to wing it. You just basically got to use the warrant. He's very well in giving us, yeah, right? And then Lon, who's the vice chair of the Affordable Housing Trust, usually handles that piece. Like the applicant. Usually a committee member starts the ball rolling at town meeting, but the applicant is supposed to be there to answer any specific question. Right.
And the applicant is who? Be someone who's got some property that needs preservation.
These are easy to pay from the application to come forward. For the town department, could be, you just got
I mean, like a park needs to be.
they should be present if there are any questions available. After needed to the questions. The habitat, equal housing triangles, forward. You just gotta get a little date come forward at the rock. You're familiar with that project. They've got a huge organization and they got a grant a couple years ago from us and so we don't know their program inside and out in their project, which is to build some more housing over on Holcomb Rock Road in Dennis. So they need to be there to answer the questions. Say, historical conditions, something is privately or publicly owned historic sites. Sometimes we own the site.
Need some either.
Sometimes the Methodist Church is coming in this year. I just list depending on
Did St. David's go through this a few years ago?
who sick. Yep.
Okay, I remember.
Yeah, on the throne said phase one.
Yep.
At least the train last year, and they didn't have phase two coming forward this year. And then Don Marie helps them with the application a little bit, and then afterwards helps everybody stay in compliance with all sorts of town and state rules and regulations about spending money and all of that stuff. So it's a great committee to be on, and you get to know all the different uses and the comprehensive interaction between historic preservation, affordable housing, open communities, recreation. You get to know a lot about the different parts of the town. And of course, it's nice because it's all in the community development, right? So it's like you get to know the community development department well, and and some of the fun projects going on in town. Because the whole community preservation program came about to make sure there's money set aside for projects that typically get eliminated from the generating budget. So that's why it's housing, open space and rec, historic preservation. Yeah, because those are typically, under the gun when it's time to cut budgets. So Lee, it sounds like Lee wants to stay on, but she's kind of like, okay, no more than this amount of time. So I was trying to recruit somebody to kind of, that would do it for years. We haven't done that in the past. And I'll be really straightforward. I'm willing to stay on, but I know I won't stay on past that period. Yeah. And yeah, it was always supposed to be 3 years. I don't know what happened. But I used to have to you phone every year pretty much. Right. They just trying to get it. Yeah, there's another member that can kind of work with me a little bit, then go to a couple of meetings, see what it's like, so they can pass the turn.
I have some interest in it, but I can't commit right at the moment. I know I couldn't be every Wednesday for the next few months. I was an applicant 2 years back in town. So,
Okay.
and it is kind of a fascinating process, and it encompasses a lot of different things that's why I asked about, but I can't commit right now.
If I was reappointed, I decided I couldn't fulfill the 3 years. Could come back to the committee to pay somebody else got it. Yep.
At that point,
So in that sense, I would be willing to stay on, get that really make efforts to make that in this community, if they don't have somebody to like at the turn. Show an unexpired term. Work to fill an unexpired term. So if you do 2 years and then you're done, the committee could appoint somebody to fill the 1 year of your unexpired 3-year term. So what I would do is I would take a vote unless somebody else is interested, to recommend reappointing you for 3 years. And then maybe I think you have here in your short list of emails for the agendas. Maybe we'll confirm that. Okay, to make sure that I get those agendas, we get an agenda, I get an agenda, and then maybe I can send it out to the committee members, and that way if somebody wants to shadow Lee at these meetings, they love to. That sounds like a good thing. I had let the committee know the RFP to come out, and I'll be away from October 3rd to the 10th. So you talked about that. I announced that in the meeting, and they'll all get the package, so I will package I conduct my trip. Right. But as the next scheduled meeting is October 9th. Like I say, the applications are due September 20th. That gives me some time to get them organized and distributed, and October 9th, we start looking at them. I'll be as a country. You look at them up to the 11th when you get back. I have to say that when you're first here on my committee, I was in the middle of a very large consulting project, and I had no idea. I still think they heads up about the other committees and me once a week, and it's really challenging for me. For that, 3 at a time, it can be intense. But then, like for the other 8, 9 months out of the year, it's light. As you know, just without being maneuvered, they brought to shore. For sure, yeah, take look. And the committee, you take 9 members? 9 members, right. And it's the same for all new members, you know what I mean? They kind of go, oh, but some of them have been on the committee for years and very experienced. We have a staff person. So I hope it was never been overwhelming, please. Yes, it was, because I think whoever is getting in for. And as I say, I was in the know that's really, really big. Yeah, as it was a big, really big project that I was doing. So that was just a challenge. But I know good there, and like I said, I made a lot. Yeah, it's coordinated. I mean, I think the chairs had been on it for ever, I think, since the beginning almost. So he's really knowledgeable, what's appropriate. Because committee's responsibility is to make sure that the project and the application are appropriate. First of all, for the money and the guidelines and viable uses of the money, of the CPA funds. So that's the first really big question. And then if you look at the application, it gives other guidelines as to what makes a project, favorable or most favorable, highly favorable. And there is a list of goals the committee has set to attain, and they're all linked to the other town, like the HPP and the open space and rec plan, recreation and open space projects. So it's not just willy-nilly, do we like this or do we not like it? There are actual charts and guidelines. We have fear for me correct. They have to be able to spend your money and you get reimbursed. That's the other big point, right? And they can't think of illustration in their application. Because if you think about it, actually, we did recently have a candidate who wanted to try to do a housing project, but wasn't set up as a 501c3. And, if you take a step back and say, listen, this is taxpayer money. We can't just give you, Joe Blow, $100,000 to build a house and say you're going to let people with disabilities live there. Right? That's not allowed. You can't do that with taxpayer money. You need to have checks and balances and transparency. Okay. Now, when we make this recommendation, is it a recommendation to the select board to appoint Lee? I believe it is. Well, the select board is the active appointing body, so you're voting on a recommendation to the select board for a person from our committee, the committee, to be appointed to the CPC. It has to be from this committee, but you have to make a recommendation to the select board, and they make the action. That was very simple.
Timing is in fact,
Well, I'm glad that worked out. And have it be later.
can we get a motion to make a recommendation to the select to appoint Grady to the
CPC.
to the Community Preservation Committee for a term of 3 years. If he does not fulfill that term due to various circumstances, then we would appoint somebody to fulfill the term.
They just automatically come back to us. They're like, yeah, because I have been I pull up and that's a given. So to recommend the select board appoint Lee Hamilton to the CPC as the CHC's representative. Good. For a term of 3 years. And you're saying reappoint or because it's still on the you put this they can say reappoint.
I make a motion, how I say this, as was just said.
Yep.
I have to work on it. Second, any? A second.
Okay, and you go roll call vote group.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Yeah, did I get the bring the drums? I'm sure. You sure. So bad.
Well, it has to be unanimous.
Okay, yeah, yes.
John, yes.
It was kind of funny today that you were forced into it.
Well, you voted against yourself.
That doesn't not for like staying. And those other people don't do that, so.
Moving to old business, Affordable Homes Act, Housing Bond Bill update. Not exactly sure what's new on that.
Right. So I did receive the I did receive the bill from town council. Haven't read it.
You get 160 people.
It's really yeah. And um I'm attending the One Cape seminar or event that the Cape Cod Commission is putting on, and there's going to be a section on seasonal community. And then I noticed that CHAPA is starting to put out information about the money. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about the planning board coming up, that they have some work to do to bring our current zoning bylaw into compliance with the new affordable.
Just
So there's been a lot of meetings, the MMA and the planners, the Massachusetts Planners Association, if that's their name. They've been having meetings with their lawyers presenting about the ATV bylaw. People are really, they think that's the piece that people are going to work on first locally, is to put up their local zoning to MAT. And then people will continue on to look at the seasonal communities designation and then figure out how to get access to all those funds. But it's mostly a funding bill.
how long did the communities have to get a zoning?
So the state law, the zoning that was passed in the state law goes into effect in February. So there's many towns that are municipalities that are not going to make that deadline. So town councils are trying to ensure that towns don't act in a way that causes a conflict between the local zoning and the state statute. Recommending, recognizing that the state statute.
They might be out to that.
And given that you've asked the ADU, the guidelines, I believe the state's a little bit more open on how is that going to deal with what the town is doing, but they can have to come back to the yard living. It takes away several positions that Yarmouth Town Meeting voted for, such as owner-occupied, the number of parking spot has to be changed. I think we currently require 2 per unit. The state statute says you can only require 1 for the ADU. So, and the size, I eat up in some days quite a leash. I think everything got loose, except for the park. Yeah, the parking. I'm sorry, I misspoke. So, right now in Yarmouth, you'd have to have 4 parking spots if you had added an ADU to your unit. The state says that the town can only require 1 spot for the ADU.
Even if that's a 3-bedroom ADU.
Now, it doesn't say anything about, and I haven't read it, but I haven't heard anybody saying that the state, what does the state say about us requiring parking for the main part of it?
But that is, I was going to ask that we said at least every 4 parking space. I remember. Like, so what does that mean? That every house needs to have 2 parking spaces?
I don't know. All the state has said is that a town can't require more than 1 parking spot per ADU. But we used to require 2 for the main building and 2 for the ADU. But I don't think I'd have to look at what our zoning requires for a single family home.
All over the place. You're and
And that's what this town, planning board and the zoning board of appeals worked out. They said, and this ADU thing was getting discussed for like the last 20 years in Yarmouth, right? It was saying, well, we didn't want to allow the second apartment if people were parking on the lawn. So that was their way of managing that. So I don't know what's coming here. I mean, our streets are not built.
Are we required to go by the state requirement?
Yeah. Well, money can't.
Like in the states. Yes.
No, I think if somebody was denied a building permit based on local zoning that was not in compliance with the state statute, they could appeal it. You'd appeal it to the zoning board of appeals, and they would probably win. If they didn't win at that level, they'd win at the next, And where is it with the seasonal? Because he was at parts of Barnstable. And then it said that it was all of the entire, all of Latin Maine, the Kingdom of Island. It's like this odd sea deal, but not just much.
Well, that we haven't determined yet, to be honest, correct?
It's parts of Barnstable County, and I think it's more like P-Town. No, we are not an automatic seasonal community, but you can only be, but even if we were, you have to still adopt it because you have to change different provisions in your town, such as you have to allow tiny homes. So the building code has just changed. There's a draft building code that defines tiny homes. So that's all under review. And it does say in the Mass Building Code, all I know right now at this point is that they haven't read it, but that they do require a foundation. So that's good news. It's not bulls that are on wheels. It has to have a foundation, but it has things like it doesn't necessarily need 2 means of egress because it's so small. Or that, but and some of these tiny homes have
If I say I didn't want to, you can almost reach the walls.
they have a pop-up that is. So like a camper, and that has a window, and that's the second means of egress because it's so small you can't put in 2 doors. I don't know. It's going to be very. So where were you in a tiny home?
When I worked at
Okay.
either consideration and what there's only so much space in the city. The U.S. has so much. They're trying to figure where can we do. They put a trailer on top way back in the 80s. I was lucky. I had to rent that out. It's like it's still on Beacon Street. They had to go to Red Sox and search out the Lisa Culper trailer park in the sky. Yeah, you don't notice it, but if you're walking down Beacon Street and you look up, you go, "What is that?" It's a big trailer.
Well, there's bought up so much real estate in that neighborhood, all these good downstreams and such that
They bought them and they really ticked off a lot of the neighborhood. But when the neighbor goes to sell, they go to DU first. Hey, you want to buy my property? And they jack up the yeah, they just spoil it out into the neighborhood there. So those are all the apartments that I was in charge of, and there was good of us selling. But we picked up their trash. We shoveled the snow for them. But
Hey,
that's for all the students anyway. The university considered somehow trying to find areas to maybe take damage towards some.
well, some communities, I can't remember exactly where right now, and built things to get family going. It's and it was willing to develop it.
I think out in the West Coast.
Yeah, and you see that.
in places like that.
You see that, and you see a lot of activists. Online, you see people who are working as grassroots movement and homelessness issues is building these things and popping them. Oh, it's interesting. Yeah, that's the only update I have is that these agencies and the lobby groups are starting to have sessions on them. More to come, I'm sure. It's a very big bill.
Where does the town go then? If the picking issue for ADUs, I mean, and potentially you're going to have Craig said people parking lawns, vehicle cars on a lawn, and And I mean, we've got some people they moved into my neighborhood, and I thought I fine because there's 5 or 6 cars. See, and if there's no space on the lawn, they're parking in the street. I do know you just said streets here are small. There's not a lot of lighting. Some of them around the field, and there's a car parked in a bad spot. It's not pretty. So I'm concerned too.
Oh, and people look at you.
Well, I don't want to speculate.
So I do have to say that our health department has a very well managed program to get all the rental units in town registered, all the short term rentals registered. And you're talking about the occupancy. They are looking at occupancy during their inspections because we have a water quality issue. So we can't allow an infinite number of flushes.
You forgot to mention.
So
I went in a couple of those inspections and it took the linear and the setup as a bad room. And in all the rooms, opinions, there's too many people.
Yeah.
In this space. So I get it.
we might not be able to.
But at the same time,
Yeah.
you're right. There's only so much.
So we might not be able to manage it by parking spots, but we might be able to manage it by wastewater flow. Fee. So that's coming here. So I know that the house I bought, at one time it had 3 bedrooms. He broke down the bedroom, and you're into a dining room, and that's kind of living it. But he rented out space in the basement. I believe. And that was on. I had my house inspecting. The inspection said we can never everybody's living there and live on the townhouse. And lots of people were laying it down, including somebody who worked for the heating and cooling system that I use. But I used to make space in the basement. And there is a basement door. But you can see that the leeway, there's not chimney in the brand. It's very, very dangerous. And it's
A lot of times, like seeing the ceiling in these basements, it's not enough space in the ceiling. It's like 6 foot pin and like.
what is the classic basement? Because it's really thin, and there's radiant heat in the pool. It there's unfinished space because it isn't the field in the bedrooms that were illegal. So there's something unfinished, but they're surprised. And the one that said moved out in 5 years and we rented it out because of the and somebody in the neighborhood dropped us down, and then they were forced to sell. And they did not happen when they let me know that they're not happy. And you keep sending me other kids, but I got a nice place to live, so I'm grateful.
Well, I mean, let's say in some ways it may self-regulate itself because as the owner of the property necessarily want 3 or 4 cars in their yard. Yeah. So, I mean, that may in and of itself help regulate to
Right.
a degree, but
Except you don't have to have the property owner there anymore.
how many
The big thing is lovely, So when you guys go for the LCP, there's that September 26th that meeting, you should bring it up. You should bring it up. That's again the 26th. I sent an email to you all about the planning board. Planning board has invited all committee members to participate in the local comprehensive plan, the development of the look. And that's a good time to, talk about that. Say, with the changes to the ADU, how do we manage parking? How do we manage wastewater flow? How do we make sure that these units don't negatively impact? And you'd be paying especially all the guidelines you're putting to lives of the state of the concept of meaning. So where it's the stuff that one enabled and that's all the things that the planning board works so hard on these ADU bylaws is to prevent this, and now it's all gone.
no, the top of your head, how many landlords do you think in Yarmouth are absentee landlords? So
I think that there's a very high bar.
I don't check anything here.
It's a very high bar set by the largest property management company in town, which is Davenport Realty. That there's a very high bar. So what's nice about that is that you have one company that owns a lot of units, right? So if you have a problem, you can go to one office, right? And then otherwise, a lot of them have been created more recently with our changes to the bylaw, with affordable requirements, affordable housing requirements. So what's happened is that they're very attentive property management companies. Like we just had somebody here today. They know we're watching, right? So I think that Yarmouth, well, it might have the largest number of rental units. And, out of all the other Cape Towns, we probably have a large number, probably second only to Barnstable. But because we have so many consolidated under bigger companies, I think we do.
I mean, I think for the most part, Davenport is on top of things and they react to their properties quite well.
They do an excellent job. So they set a really high standard for rental units. But unlike other towns, we don't have we have scattered sites, one person might own one property, but we don't have these mid-range property management companies. So I think we do fairly well. I think our rental stock is pretty good.
Well, I was actually, I was in some of the inspections. It was with Abby.
Yeah.
Fell.
Yeah.
And Davenport does a great job. They're the biggest landlord town, but
Yes, they're the largest taxpayer in town. So, and we're very fortunate now because they do an excellent job. And then they take subsidized. Oh yeah. Everybody has to take Section 8.
yeah, it's discrimination, not so.
Right.
But I mean, when you drive around town, I just knew a lot of Davenport's properties, and they're constantly grading. They're putting new siding on or doing something to improve it. So
The properties that become problem properties are properties with the trash. Did you notice that Kieran Healy said he does the trash? Landlords are supposed to manage the trash. The reason being that it can get neglected and then you get roads. So that's the big nuisance that we fear, is that trash is piling up and make rodents. So the health department is on.
okay, move on. Soldier on veteran housing audit, the tour of the Brighton facility. We had Mary had put together some dates that she sent out to everybody.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to be able to take that, but it's a date and that, and I can. I'm happy to go.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I started a consulting thing that's going to keep me busy for.
Let me give you their preferred date. They wanted to do Wednesday, October 2nd at 10 a.m. They'll be ready to go. October 2 is the basically between traveling and the health consultant. Since the consulting. Jill and Tom, how is October 2nd at 10 a.m.?
Well, that particular day, I think would be okay for me at that morning time. I will have to check the sent media about you. I'm doubtful, but I'll try.
Yeah, same way I'm doubtful.
Okay.
I can make it on it.
Well, if it's, maybe Tom can join us, maybe Lyra.
Yeah, and if at least we could make the report less to the people about the what any case.
Even just a video or it's something when you're there.
Tom, what's your schedule for that day? Are you available October 2nd at 10?
8?
Tom.
Oh.
Yeah, I can do that. And since we're talking about dates, are we doing 920 as well? Or if, oh, that's different. Yeah, so that's a different site. So let's just put that on our calendar for October 2nd, and I'll check with everybody else, and because that's great. All right.
Okay, I'm doing this
Thank you.
today.
I left affordable housing standards on there just so that it didn't fall off. I think that the chair is still researching for us about accessible issue.
Click.
So, we- where are we going with the language?
I think should just be some kind of
Language that you're complying with state building code and with fair housing or something like that.
we should put something more like that the housing committee in their review of projects, you know, the affordable units, you know, would like to see encourages developers to create accessible affordable units. And then just leave it there. So
Encourages.
yeah, because I think that first of all, they're standard. They're board of selectmen policies, so they're not regulations or sorry, right? But at least it gets them thinking about it. And in that form, there's a form in it. I can add to that. Is this an accessible unit? So what happens sometimes is this is a kind of a negotiation, right? Like you've seen it. You know, they want approval. They need a waiver or relief from something from the special permit granting authority. But for the affordable unit, they'll do this for us. You know what I mean? They'll reduce the rent. They'll make it accessible over. You know what I mean? Like, so sometimes when they ask for those waivers from either the zoning board of appeals or the planning board, because it's something like physically on the site they cannot meet, they'll sometimes increase the quality of something else they're offering. So that's why I think that we should put that in there and just keep studying the issue.
Did we get any feedback on if there is a stated need for accessible units?
Oh, so I looked at the current wait list for the Ready Renter program, which is about maybe 150 households. And I did see that there was a significant number of households that said they needed reasonable accommodation. But we have a lottery at 775 Main Street in West Dennis, which got just over 100 applications, and one of the units had an accessibility preference. So people were really encouraged to look at that part of their application that has had an accessible unit and accessible preference. So we'll be able to look at those numbers to see how many people did have a need. I can also ask that it's not in Yarmouth, it's LeClaire Village in Nashby. They just had a lottery. I could see if they tracked. Like our lottery from 2 years ago, I don't think there weren't. It's just a wait list. There weren't any accessible units.
Yeah. Is it the land and it's not noted because people don't think that there will be accessible units? Rick brought up the issue too of, okay, you have an accessible unit that may sit there empty.
They need to rent it something dense.
Right. But we'll have. So they just closed the lottery on August 27th. That was the deadline, and they have until you have there's 5 more days for the applications that were postmarked by that deadline to go live to the lottery agent, which is Plymouth Redevelopment Authority. So Plymouth Redevelopment Authority is now starting to really process those 100 applications. So they'll be able to tell me fairly quickly the data on the accessible
households. Your little aside on your you say you have 150 people on the ready.
On the general wait list for the Ready Renter program.
I don't know if some of those people been waiting.
So our wait list of that type only good for 2 years.
And it's like clean it up.
Yeah. Unlike
You apply.
yes, they all get notified. They all get notified that we're going to purge the list and do you want to reapply.
Sure.
Other wait lists like the commons and in school, housing authorities, you get on that list, you stay on that list. That agency will periodically write you a letter saying, do you still want to stay on the list? We're about to open up the list. And you have to respond or else you get purged, right? And then they pancake that list. They take out anybody who didn't want to stay on, and then they open it up, and anybody who applies gets put on the. So those are the lists that people are on for like 10 years. Was our local unit, like Wolfen and 775 Main Street, those lists get purged every 2 years because the state says that otherwise it's the same people on these wait lists and new people can't get access. So that's how they balance it.
Yeah, I ran into that problem many times.
Right.
You spend way too much time trying to track one person down. We wait till the last second. Like, oh no, I'm not interested. I thought, okay, thank you, but
Oh, I feel your pain. That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay. The business 775 Main Street, West Dennis, tour set for 9:20 at 10 a.m.
So, Palm, that's the one you were talking about.
I will be there.
It's not a Wednesday? Friday.
That's a Friday. Yeah.
I'll be there.
It's my workout time, but all right, I make it.
You have to get up early. Do you work out?
No, you can't work out early. Come on.
Are you retiree? So, Pam, can you be there on the 20th? Yes, I can. That's awesome. So this is a building. How about you, Drew? Is that a data? Okay, great. And Lee, were you going to be able? Might be able to on next Friday.
Going to meet up at
This is Rob Warren. He was a police officer. He is here in Steve Baboa, and the rock star. I guess that's the new name for administration assistant. Rock star, Randy Zilla, right? And so, hopefully they'll all be there. They'll give us a tour of the affordable units. The other units, the micro 8 units, are already found. This is the lottery that we're conducting through the Ready Renter program, where we've got 100 units. One of the units will be accessible. So you'll be able to see that. And the lottery is going to be held on October 10th over in Dennis. This was a vacant commercial building that they redid into, I think, 24 units, and 6 are affordable. And what's interesting is they did
This big mansion.
no, it's not the Collins. It's by Cuppies and Ezra Baker School.
Oh, I used to be a real estate officer, an investment officer, or something like.
Definitely 2 stories. Yeah. So it's a big building.
Me.
So, and the units are modest size. They're not huge. They're on the smaller side, but they were able to fit in 24. So we'll be able to look at, the building, their work. What's interesting, 24 units, 6, with 5 1-bedrooms, 1 2-bed. So you can see, because it's local units, they were able to pick the bedroom that.
So these will be for people who live in Dennis, or people who live in Dennis and surrounding area.
So 6 of the units, so 2 of the 6 units are pretty full, right? One has a bedroom preference, 1 has an accessibility preference, and 2 have local. So if no one that has an accessibility need applies, right, then that unit goes to the open pool. Do you know what I mean? It's filled by the open. Same thing. Let's say there's a veteran veteran family or several that apply, but none of them end up taking the unit or qualifying at the final qualification, then you go back to the open forum. Same thing with the local preference. There's a preference for people who live, work, or have a child as a data school system. But if none of those work out, then they go back to the open. And it's only the initial lease up.
These folks could, so if someone who lived in, I'm sorry, you're in data, so they need towns right now where they work in Tennessee, and they first go.
Yes, with a local preference, which is on 2 of the unit. So the state has just loosened up. It's always capped at no more than 70% of the affordable units can have these preferences, but they're allowing this veteran preference. They're encouraging this accessibility. So this is going to be interesting for a lottery agent, because now he has all the application, right? So he has to work very closely with the state on these different lottery rooms. And on the 10th, if anybody wants to come and help pull numbers out of the hat, if you're available, I'll send you out. Yeah. You don't exactly, we think it's at 1:00, but we're still confirming the meeting room. But, or is it going to be the morning? But anyways, it's either going to be morning or afternoon. We haven't set the time, but, you do need volunteers because we might, have to pull these numbers several times.
Are the people in the room?
Oh, yeah.
They pull their number and they're jumping to joy.
Oh, crying.
I don't want to make anybody cry. Yes.
It's one that they can cry with excitement, and one that don't get selected cry. Yeah. Oh. But yeah, that's the 10th. All right, good. That will be fun.
The reports and action, it's chair's report. They don't have anything, have any consortium.
Yeah, the last meeting was August 15th. A lot to report. Mary was also there, making sure I was on my best behavior. So there was an update by the Barrett Planning Week on shared regional housing services pilot program. Mary has been appointed the government point person. There was a roundtable general discussion that recently passed the Board of the Home Act. As he mentioned, it's 162 pages. I don't think too many people had a chance to go through it too intently. So that was a short discussion. I have a feeling that will be discussed in the future in more depth. The September meeting is canceled due to a conflict because the chair of that meeting, I guess, will also be at the
1K.
the one, yeah, exactly. So the next meeting will be October 17th, and my guess is that the roundtable on the 4-day Homes Act will be a little bit more robust. Yeah, miss another.
Nope. The home conversion staff person, he's like a paralegal, just always working law.
Oh, he has ways that
Meaning, so I'm looking forward to her lead on the Affordable Employment Act. That she is a leader.
she runs a tight meeting, Remy.
Okay, Yarmouth Housing Authority.
Just to remind you, we're carrying on with the proposal for Forest Road, and our post RFP should be submitted to the state. Product, as long as we approve it, I think we'll approve very shortly, and they're going to give us our guidance on how to. But I think it's a good from their point of view. On we go. Little by day. That's my main update on that.
Okay, thank you, Drew. Affordable Housing Trust.
Okay. So the trust meets October 15th. I just wanted to update you that they're partnering with UMass. I think it's Amherst, their policy center. I think it's Amherst. Policy Center, the Donahue Institute at Boston. Sorry. And to it's kind of do almost what P-Town did with the short-term rental study. Have it done for Yarmouth. So basically,
Where the town pays a subsidy to the landlord for the
so
leasing the around.
they want to do is identify what are the benefits and the costs of short-term rental, the seasonal housing on Yarmouth's economy, housing market, etc. So because we were going towards regulating short-term rentals, but remember when we put that in the housing production plan, there were some people at the planning board that said, whoa, wait, they actually generate some revenue. That's revenue that we're using to do the wastewater. We're using as a funding source for our wastewater infrastructure installation and construction. So that's where we started talking about, well, maybe we should have a study of this. So they're going to be doing some fairly intricate data analysis, statistics from our Department of Health, EOR, because there's a tax on all of this. And it's not Airbnb, but it's DNA, right? And instead of Airbnb, it's Air DNA. What is it? DNA, like it's a scientific term for code. So what they do is they scrape data. So they go and they mine data on all these sites and buy all this data, they duplicate it and see what trends happen in Yarmouth. Basically, they're trying to see, is there a real economic incentive to rent your house out as a short-term rental or seasonal housing versus renting it year-round? And how do you mitigate the negative impacts of that and amplify the positive one? So that's what's hard. He was down paying the trust which would pay for that. So just to keep you up to speed on that. Let's see, the next thing,
There an end date on that?
we don't have a start cut, but once we get the Donahue Institute working on it, they said it would take them 6 months. That's impressive. That is impressive. So they're really, I'm familiar with ADR and what they do. And they're going to be doing the short-term rental piece with the state housing plan. Remember the state came down for a listening session and they admitted that they don't even have a plan. They don't even have a 5-year plan for housing, but they want all of us to have 5-year plans. So they're working on that, and the Donahue Institute is probably going to do the chapter on short-term rentals. Yeah. So this is great because we're right in there with everybody. The next thing is the trust put out an RFP for $500,000 for an agency to run a home repair program. And so the trust had set aside that $500,000 maybe about 6 months ago. And so I issued the RFP, and we do have one response, which is Howard Ecumenical Council for Housing, who has gone to the Community Preservation Committee first, like directly, and runs a very similar program right now. So, and then we have money for rental buy down RFP. I have to reissue that because we issued that and no one responded. And that would be to buy property to convert to affordable rentals. Shit. It is great. Really, should you ask it? Give me UD? Yeah. Good. Just it. Hi, Drew. We can hear you.
What's that?
Bye. And
You have a question?
no, I said something. He said, yeah, there is another sort of one day. The girl has that. And then the last one is they're working on several sites for home preservation, including in your neighborhood. So that we're making progress with them. So the lapitude is probably going to have to be tuned down. No, just one of the two. Yeah. There's like 5 I'm working on. They're very time consuming.
Neighborhood is that?
Kind of One of the units that we're looking at is in German Hill. They have created 2 bedrooms without the benefit of a building permit. So please, everybody, if you want to add a bedroom to your house, get a building permit. Because when you go to sell it, it causes a huge. Because in the owners of my place, increased if in trades a 2, they did go through the town, so it was in the town record. Yeah. But then I didn't to say, well, I'm not being taxed with 3 bedrooms, they should be 2. I had records of that as a big town. The building permit is so important. So that's what the trust is up to.
Okay, planning board.
Planning board in your packet is the draft warrant article for the new calculation for an inclusionary affordable unit that would be provided not in the project site, but rather with a cash payment to the Affordable Housing Trust.
Now, when this gets submitted to the select board, assuming, right?
That is after
Done. And do they have any idea what the cash amount is probably going to be?
Oh, that's a good idea to have.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. And this will be for October.
Can
This is the cash paying it now, Eric.
Like 150,
Yeah.
355.
we do like 300?
Yeah. And that's what it costs, though. That's what it costs.
Yeah. 800 per unit.
The affordability gap is about 300,000.
Someone's building that. Yeah, but 6A Davenport, they're putting 6 prices in there to set them one to pay the town 150.
Right now, it's about 100.
It would be 300. It's a
That's a development of 6A.
yeah,
Not that funny.
and the super rally of the sale.
At 36 units, it's
No, I was gonna
14, and they owed us 2 affordable units. Okay, two affordable units, but they provided cash payment about 155 per. And so we looked at that and we said, oh, that's not going to really be able to buy us 2 units. So we're trying to reset that. It used to.
It's required 2/3 votes in this they select their plan.
I think it requires simple majority,
yeah.
but town meeting will be 2/3.
Okay.
Because it's a change to the zone code. And so this is a town meeting where, members of the Affordable Housing Trust and the Community Housing Committee will need to be prepared to talk about why we went to change this. I don't attend town meeting. Karen Green does as the Director of Community Development. Kathy Williams will as town planner. But there'll always be opportunity for residents, registered voters to get to the mic and talk. So we can get prepared for that as October comes.
Can you, Community Preservation Committee, you on rent incentives?
The Preservation Committee, well, I meant to put that under community development, sorry.
Okay.
So Lee, well, we just talked about the RFPs. The deadline is at September 20th, right? And then the committee assesses them into on the street, and then you all get copies of those, and review them, talk about them in the committee, and then invite the up and to see. You must put to these questions. I'm sorry, this zoning article is from the it's like.
So I say, yeah, because October's next.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's in preparation for May town meeting. And then under Department of Community Development,
So we're gonna rewrite this in some fashion that the
what it will have is it will have an info sheet.
Yep.
Attached to it.
Yep.
Yep. Or so sometimes people don't ask, you know what I mean? So they'll probably have that answer ready, right? But I'll make sure that they have that answer ready. Because it gets printed now into the warrant, it could be outdated by the time it gets to town meeting. Do you know what I mean? The way it is, it's when the income limits get issued, which is always a moving target on the calendar. It's never the same. That's when you set price. For the Department of Community Development, Board of Selectmen, I'm expecting to have something coming out of that office, the town administrator's office, regarding goals. They had a summit a couple of weekends ago. The select board got together and they talked about their 10 top goals for the next fiscal year. And what came out of that was a directive to the town administrator to come up with ideas about how to encourage year-round rentals. Not necessarily affordable housing, not necessarily affordable rent, but how to get some of our housing stock to be used year-round as rental property. So staff is working with the town administrator to some ideas. So one of them was use to locals, right? And Mackenzie.
Town.
Yep. And Mackenzie Perry is the Yarmouth resident, and she agreed to be part of this kind of like think tank that the town administrator is putting together. And the other one was the tax exemption, for people who rent their unit year round, a tax exemption from the town property tax. That's the update.
okay.
They got tax exemption make up or they rented it short term. I remember seeing some think the Coin Commission venue that can make in 2 months what a ramble was listening to you.
No, I think we talked about this relative to Provincetown, I think, and I don't think it generally makes up to you could make short term, but it allows for some benefit back.
Right. It takes away the risk of the first year. You know what I mean? Hey, the lease to local covers that difference in the third 2 years.
2 years.
That is just the first year, and then there's no subsidy for the second.
But okay.
But people like to have somebody in their unit year round. You know what I mean? So it just takes away that risk. And lease to local says that the majority of units that they help establish a year round tenant stays that way.
Well, the first year probably comes close to paying the difference. What I think the goal in the end is somebody gets a good tenant in there. And it's like, I'd rather have a good tenant paying eventually every month to that 30.
A good tenant who pays their rent on time and takes care of that property is in value.
Rather than like illegally risk, right? And then what we were thinking of doing was, that first year have a subsidy, and then out years have the tax exemption. So it would never cover the difference, but it would be at least something from the tenant. Well, in the sense that, so.
Okay. Upcoming meetings, pretty easy. You have to make a decision, either the sale or 18th, right?
Yep.
Either one is fine with me. I'll have a preference that
Yeah, either's fine with me as well. And either time too. I mean,
Not in October.
well, we're meeting October too, right?
And get the money. Which is good by here. We'll see some friend too. And I asked, what the other team then put the trip to the Dutchins Oaks. And there with me.
the meeting to the second Monday.
Yeah, so we have a holiday issue.
Right. October would be the 14th. Correct.
That's right. Isn't that Indigenous Peoples Day?
Yep.
Like on November, get out early. Okay. So I have a meeting at 3 o'clock on Monday, October.
Yeah, the 14th to 7th.
Right, because the 14th isn't that a holiday?
It is a holiday, yeah. We kind of
I would be in the Azores.
10 7.
At the end, the 17th. I mean, you can't wait till the 21st because that's early voting.
Well, that 7th works for me.
And then we have to be out of here by 3. Can we start at 2 o'clock?
On October 7th?
Yeah.
With me. But anybody have a problem with that?
I'm okay.
Good.
Because the Board of Health starts at 5:30 and they like to get in here at start at 2 p.m. And then let's just put it on our calendar November 4th at 2. In November. So that 2?
And November 4th is still because of
Veterans Day.
Veterans Day.
Yeah, 2 p.m. Then we won't have any conflict whatsoever with the Board of Health.
Yeah, in 2 p.m.
Okay, so I'll send out an email Thursday.
Okay. I think that's it. Can we get a motion to adjourn?
I move over Josh.
I second that.
Lou?
Yes.
I
Right?
Yes.
B?
I
John? I.
become.
That is the
Okay, thank you.
Yes, miss.